You know, they say a woman's place is in the home, and I suppose as long as she's in the home, she might as well be in the kitchen. Oh.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take out T-C-B. Suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, Zillary slay. Suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me. Ooh, hey, Zillary slay. Just a little bit, I get tired. Keep on trying.
Public accommodations fight 10 years ago with the blacks. Are we going to have to start all over again as women? How about, would you like a sign up there that says blacks only or whites only? It's the same principle, sir. Women are persons, women are people. And we want to be able to come and go through it, and we don't want to be intimidated by signs that say men's buffet.
I have no intentions of taking the sign down or changing the sign. If you can get a...
I walked on the Senate floor in a pair of slacks, and the Senate never had women wear trousers before. And I felt like I was walking on the moon.
I started out addressing envelopes and licking stamps, and then finally decided that the men I'd been working for hadn't been getting it right, and so I needed to run myself.
I will be honored to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
My first opponent called me just a pretty face. And of course, I didn't mind. I was going to prove that he was wrong.
People would say, oh, you're a nice girl, and do you really know what you're getting into, and are you going to be able to handle the heat?
We are attempting to fulfill the promise of America.
Hi there, dear. How are you? You're gonna vote for me tomorrow, right? Okay, sweetheart.
It's a very tough arena. If you throw a punch, you better be ready to take one, and if you take one, you better be ready to throw one.
You'd shake hands and you'd be talking, and then somebody would tell you a story about why it really matters. And you just think, I've got to keep up this fight, I got to win this fight, and then I got to go down to Washington and fight this fight.
For the better part of the 20th century, most women achieved high office not because they ran, but because they were appointed, almost always when their husbands died in office.
It was the widow's route to Congress. Most of those women would serve for a short period of time. They didn't really have power. They would follow the agenda that their husband had already set out while he was a member of Congress.
A few, however, refused to have their political careers defined by their husband's legacy. Chief among them, Margaret Chase Smith of Maine. The genteel wife of a Republican congressman, Smith followed her husband to Washington to be his secretary. But when he died in 1940, Smith won a special election to complete his term, and then was re-elected 4 times on her own.
The people of Maine have been very generous to me. I shall never forget this tremendous expression of confidence they have given me.
I met Senator Margaret Chase Smith in 1971. She spent nearly 2 hours with me, and she never once talked about being the only woman in the Senate. I remember leaving her office so inspired by her and thinking that women could do anything.
Margaret Chase Smith left office in 1973, just as the women's movement was becoming a national political force. And with it, a new generation of female candidates was emerging, radical, outspoken, and ready to fight.
There was an incredible rising up by women's voices who wanted to be part of that conversation, who would not be left out of it.
Don't forget that there are men voting every day against the interests of women in this country, against child care and equal rights amendment.
Many of us felt we had won an awful lot of battles. A lot of women that worked in the civil rights movement and in the peace movement thought, now it's our turn, here we come.
My name is Shirley Chisholm. Send me to the United States Congress.
In 1968, Shirley Chisholm, a state legislator from Brooklyn, New York, ran for the House of Representatives on an anti-poverty platform and won.
Mr. Chisholm, how does it feel to be the first black woman in Congress?
Well, it's long overdue, but it's the most wonderful feeling.
A former educator, she was an outspoken advocate on issues of child welfare, civil rights, and women's equality.
She was there to represent people who nobody ever listened to. She was loud, she was insistent that people hear her. And to me, that's almost the best description of what a public servant, what an elected representative is supposed to be.
I intend to immediately focus my voice dramatically on many of the issues that confront the black people all over America.
When I was growing up, I used to have a picture on my bedroom wall of Shirley Chisholm. She was unabashed in terms of her advocacy, and she wasn't going to be bossed around.
You know that I have never been exactly a favorite of the party, and, you know, I do what my conscience tells me to do.
The continuous effort of women becoming leaders is increasing in the United States. This shows the fact that women are trying to display that they are able to surpass their capacity. Women were influenced by the women's rights movement because it was created for women to be equal with men. Despite the movement making an effort to change women's lives, women are still viewed as inferior in today's society. Women have the capability of becoming leaders today because of the different traits they possess. For example, honesty, intelligence, decisiveness, organized, compassionate, innovative, and ambitious. These traits are what the public eye looks for in a leader. Women have a long history of being put down countless of times, but today there are different women who are trying to pursue of becoming leaders in the United States, like Hillary Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Angelina Jolie, Nancy Brinker, and Ruth Bader. Women leaders in the United States are still lacking, but if men were to recognize women for their skills, the country can be changed by the perspective of women leaders.
There are no doors we cannot unlock. If we can do this, we can do